Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Oh my gosh, you guys, it is so cold outside. When I got in the car, it said it was 34 degrees, and then it went down to 30 degrees, and now it's at 28 degrees, and it's like freezing outside. I usually like drive around a little bit to warm the car up, and do I have my seat heater on? I do. But I usually drive around a little bit to let my car warm up. But tonight I was like, it is so cold, I just have to start talking so that I keep myself busy while I'm sitting here waiting. It's so cold. It is currently 1:25 a.m. and I feel like I have just spent the last hour and a half just doing nothing really. I'll talk about that in a second. I had a good day today. I really didn't do a whole lot today except for relax. Alex had nothing to do until tonight, so he and I kind of just hung around the house all day today, which was nice. And I didn't even leave the house until like 5 something. And then I ran some errands that I needed to do, and then that was about it. And then I had planned to do a live stream tonight because Alex was going to this birthday party for a girlfriend's, and they were like going out downtown and stuff like that, and he was like, do you want to go? And I was like, I don't think so. I don't love going out when it's this cold. I mean, maybe to like a cozy dinner or something like that, but I just don't love having to like walk around downtown and stuff. It's so cold, you know? So I said no, and he kind of took a nap, and then he took a shower and got ready and stuff. And then I was planning to do my live stream because I wanted to go on at 10 o'clock tonight. I actually thought, okay, because I put it like up, I actually put it on the community tab on the vlog channel because I wanted to make sure that you guys saw it. And I also, when I posted the vlog, like I pinned a comment and said, if you're watching this on Saturday night, I'm live streaming, right? I said at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I know some people missed it, so I'm sorry if you missed it. I might do another live next Thursday because I had so much fun doing it tonight. And I think that Alex has dinner plans with a girlfriend next Thursday evening. So if he does, then I might do it. I might do another live stream next Thursday. We'll just have to see. But I had a really good time. So I was like nervous about it. I was like, well, first of all, I was nervous because I hadn't done one in so long. And back in the day, I used to do live streams all the time. But I hadn't done one in a really long time. And so I was kind of nervous about it. Number one. Number two, I was nervous that I would like announce it all over the place. And then I wouldn't be able to set it up because I was going to do it on my phone. And I was like, for some reason it doesn't go through on my phone, then I don't know what I'm going to do. But because I don't know how to do it from my computer, I have no clue. But it ended up working from my phone, and I had a great time. It was really fun. Quite a few people came in there, quite a few for me at least. And yeah, it was really a good time. So that was from like 10 to like, it said I was on there for like an hour and a half. So it was like 10 to 11:30. And it was just like the comments were going so fast. I was kind of having a hard time reading them. Now I know how to slow it down. So I was trying to slow it down and like read what some of the comments were. But yeah, it was a really good time. That was fun. And then I was going to go get something to eat afterwards. And I don't know why, like in my head, I was thinking that I was going to get off of the live stream at 10. I don't know why I thought that when I went on at 10. And so I was going to like do carry out for Maggiano's or something, but they close at 10. So their curbside delivery or curbside pickup ends at 10 or 11 ends. And so by the time I got off, it was closed. And I had got some Harvest Cheddar Sun Chips last night and a piece of cheese from the gas station. So I just had that today. That was my dinner, my healthy dinner tonight. But I wasn't really hungry after that, so I don't know. Maybe if I'm hungry later, I'll heat something up or whatever. And we'll do brunch tomorrow, so. But that was fun. That was kind of my day. I mean, it really wasn't a whole lot more than that. I like took a nice warm hot shower tonight and did my hair, and so I wanted to look somewhat presentable for the live stream. And I made the bed real nice and cozy. And Boo and Tucker were so sweet tonight. And yeah, it was real nice. So it was calm evening. Really nice calm evening. And I was going to watch a bunch of Christmas movies tonight, but that didn't end up happening. I might watch one later. But I just started last night. I finished Tic Tac Mistletoe. And I really liked it. Okay, by the way, I just want to say, I don't want to call her out, but Monet said that she doesn't like to read romances unless there's some steam and some fire. Okay, so I meant to talk about this last night, but I didn't. But Monet, you will find all the steam and the romance and the fire romance and fire that you need in Tic Tac Mistletoe. I was kind of surprised. I was telling my friend Valerie this because it's like, and I was telling Alex about this too. It's like, so they're like making Christmas cookies and stuff, and then it's like out of the blue, it goes from them like kissing, and I can't even say what like the book said because it would it would probably get my video striked, honestly. But I was like driving down the street and I was just like listening to it, and he's like, oh, there's mistletoe, we have to kiss under the mistletoe. And then it was like from that it got very descriptive very quickly, if you know what I mean. There's like 2 very descriptive scenes in the book. So there is steam and there is fire. I wasn't expecting it, and I was like driving down the street and I was like, oh my Lord. Did I say that last night? Because I was talking about Jackie Collins writing, like, well, Jackie Collins has passed away, but back in the day, she was like the only sex scenes that I really liked. But I was like listening to it, I was like, oh my Lord, this got like really spicy all of a sudden, really steamy and hot. Monet would like this. So anyway, quite hot, white hot, as she says in Pretty in Pink. So anyway, I finished that, and then last night I started, after I finished that, I started the book for Peter's book club for this month, which is When Christmas Comes, and it kind of starts right out of the gate really good. Like, I really, really like it right out of the gate. But it's not a cozy Christmas mystery at all. I mean, it's rather dark, and it starts off with this murder that happens in this small town, and then it goes to like this guy's backstory of him kind of telling his backstory of how he grew up, very privileged, and it goes in to talk about that. And I think it's going to have to do with like how he got to live in this town or something. I think it's going to explain that. So anyway, but that's what I'm listening to now. It's actually really short too. It's like just under 6 hours. It's like 5 hours and 57 minutes. So, and then I'm just kind of going down my list of books that I bought for Christmas. I counted, you guys, and I have like 11 Christmas books. I don't know how I'm going to get them all done in time for Christmas, and in fact, I probably won't get them all done in time for Christmas, but I have 2 drinks with me tonight. I have the leftover coffee from my live stream, and then I also brought a Diet Coke, and I have it in my Grinch cup that has, see, the Grinch Christmas tree. And it says on here, maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Then you have to turn the cup around, and it says, maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. I love that from the Grinch. So yeah, I have a Diet Coke too, which I'm going to open here in just a second, because well, I might as well just open it right now, because I'm thirsty for a Diet Coke. I did a live stream tonight also because I didn't post any videos today, so I thought, well, I feel like I need to do something productive. But tomorrow, Alex and I have to do a little Christmas shopping for family after brunch. So, you know, honestly, I don't know that I'm going to have time to make videos tomorrow either, so. But if I take off today and tomorrow for making videos, then those will be the only 2 days I take off for the rest of the month. I will probably pre-film videos for Christmas, and I will make videos for the rest of the month. That Diet Coke tastes so good. So let me tell you what I just spent the last hour and a half doing. Sitting at the computer bawling my eyes out. Yes. I don't even actually know how it started. I was looking up something. So, you know, I get asked a lot, like, whose videos do you watch and whatever. And I actually, like, I search a lot of stuff on YouTube. And so, it's not necessarily, like, people's channels sometimes. Like, I'll watch, like, I'm watching bit by bit, like, the 2022 Miss Continental pageant that was in Chicago. And, oh, I just saw a shooting star. So, I'll watch that, like, video by video when I see it go up. Like, it's like they'll put up the evening gowns and then, like, the bathing suits, swimsuits, and, you know, question and answer. And so I'll watch it bit by bit. But one of the things that I absolutely love to watch on YouTube, I feel like I'm kind of losing my voice. Do you guys hear it? Like, it doesn't feel like it. Like, I said feel like it, but it doesn't feel like it. But it sounds like my voice is a little deeper tonight. Maybe that's just from talking on the live stream for so long. I don't know. But one of my favorite things to search on YouTube is winning Oscar speeches. Primarily from the women. But I did watch a few men tonight. I watched Brad Pitt winning for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I watched Jared Leto for Dallas Buyers Club, Matthew McConaughey from Dallas Buyers Club, Marvin Hamlish for The Way We Were. That was like the almost very last thing. And then on the side, suggested, and then I just watched like suggested stuff, was Beyonce singing The Way We Were to Barbra Streisand at the Kennedy Honors Awards. You know, not awards, but the Kennedy Honors thing when Barbra Streisand was awarded that a couple years ago. It was like 2018. And by that point, I was bawling so bad that I just was like, okay, I'm not watching any more of these. Oh, I know what was recommended to me, because I've watched it so many times because I love her, is Frances McDormand's winning Oscar speech for three billboards over Ebbing, Missouri. Is that what it is, I think? Anyway, I love her so much. She is so fantastic. And then I watched her Oscar-winning speech for Fargo. And then I watched Sandra Bullock. I watched Olivia Colman, which is like one of the best Oscar-winning speeches ever. And I watched Jodie Foster for Silence of the Lambs, and Holly Hunter for the piano, Anna Paquin for the piano. Who else? Julianne Moore for Still Alice. A bunch of them. Sandra Bullock for The Blind Side. And I just sit there and sob. And I just absolutely sob my eyes out, because my mom and I, back in the day, the Oscars were like, if you're like a movie person or a movie family, then you get it, and if you're not, then you don't get it, I think. You know, it's like sports fan. Like, I'm not a sports person, so like I don't really care to like watch. I don't get like, let's get all the treats out and, you know, watch the Super Bowl. Like, it does nothing for me, right? And that's fine. It's just like whoever you are, like what you enjoy, you know? And, but like for me, like when I was growing up, the Oscars were such a huge deal. And I can remember my mom telling me stories about how when she was little, like she and my Aunt Kathy would they would like go see the movies. My grandma would send them to go see like a double feature on a Saturday, and then they would come home and they would play act the movies out on like the cement sidewalk right in front of their house. And like my mom loved singing in the rain, and she said that she and my aunt would like have umbrellas out there, and they'd be like dun 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 dun. You know, I don't think I've ever seen that all the way through, but anyway, and my mom loved musicals, but my mom really loved like drama pieces, like on, you know. And I can just remember, like, when I was growing up watching the Oscars with my mom, and then, like, as I got older, it became, like, a really big deal. And, always. My mom would see almost every movie that had come out for the Oscars. my mom went and saw a lot of movies. And so, like, I would come over there to watch the Academy Awards with her, and if I was, you know, dating somebody, they would come over too, sometimes not. And my mom would always wear like this, the last, you know, few years, she would wear this silver sweater set, and she would have a name tag on that said Sharon Stone. You had to come dressed as your favorite actor. I never did, though. And Sharon Stone was not my mom's favorite actor. If she was here, she would say, Peter, Sharon Stone was not my favorite actress. But she thought it was funny, because she thought, like, you know, because it's silver, and she had blonde hair that she looked like Sharon Stone. She'd always say, do I look like Sharon Stone? My mom, she loved movies like, she loved the big drama movies of the year, you know? And she loved to talk about movies, and she loved to dissect movies and talk about actors and actresses. And, some big year, so she would like make all this cheese. She would have like, my mom had this like wood cutting board, which I still have, and then she would cut all this cheese up and put crackers on it, you know, and fruit and stuff, and then she'd make coffee, and she'd have special sodas, and she'd light candles, and we would sit in the living room and we would watch the Oscars, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it, you know? And I would always get over there while the red carpet was going on, and we would talk about the outfits, and the years that I remember the most, Geraldine Page winning for A Trip to Bountiful, because that was one of my mom's favorite movies of life, which if you have never seen A Trip to Bountiful, it is a must-see movie. It is about a woman who wants to go back to it takes place in the 40s, and she wants to go back to her home of Bountiful, Texas one more time before she dies. It's absolutely, absolutely fantastic. And, yeah. And, so she won, and F. Murray Abraham gave her the award. And when he gives her the award, he says, the Academy goes to, and he starts crying. I want to start crying. And he says, to the woman who I think is the greatest actress in all of American history. I just love that movie so much, and it has that gospel song in it that I love. That softly and tenderly Jesus is calling. Calling home you. And then the year that Boys Don't Cry won with Hilary Swank, about the Brandon Tina story. Oh my God, my mom and I were both bawling our eyes out. It was such an important movie, you know. And then Julia Roberts winning for Erin Brockovich. We loved that movie. My mom and I both loved that movie so much. And Julia Roberts was so excited to win, you know? And so deservedly so, too, for that movie, I think. It was funny because I was watching tonight, I can't remember, it was the year, it was Olivia Colman, because Lady Gaga was up for A Star Is Born, and Glenn Close was up for The Wife. And I really think, honestly, like, I never saw the movie that Olivia Colman was in. I don't even know what it was, but Glenn Close was so fantastic in The Wife that, like, if she was gonna win, that was the year that she should have won. She was so fantastic in it. So anyway, I just sat there and watched it, and it was kind of weird. It was kind of like I was channeling my mom's presence a little bit. I was sitting there watching all these Oscar speeches, and I'm like bawling my eyes out. We would always cry so hard when anybody would win. Those were like the sober years of my mom and I. And every year we would always watch In Memoriam, you know, like when they would say all the people that had passed away the year before that worked in, you know, the Hollywood industry. one year for 1 year right around the Oscars, my mom used to have like a small TV and she never had cable because she didn't really believe in paying for cable. My aunt and uncle got her this like big screen TV like the day of the Oscars, and the cable guy came and installed cable at her house that day so that she could have clear reception for the Oscars. And that was like the gift that like my mom would talk about that forever. She'd always be like, oh my God, do you know what Kathy did for me? She and Dave got me a flat screen TV, and then they also got me cable, basic cable, so that I could watch the Academy Awards and they would be crystal clear because I knew how much the Oscars meant to my mom. But you know, I was sitting there watching it tonight, and it's like, you know, I think we all have dreams, and I'm such a believer in pushing your dreams and doing whatever you want to do, you know, and I'm not a believer that you're ever too old to accomplish your dreams. I mean, like I said, you know, like Geraldine Page won for Trip to Bountiful, like she was like in her like late 60s or early 70s. But do you ever have things that you like always wanted to do? Like it was funny because I was watching who was I watching? Olivia Colman said something about it, and somebody else too, about practicing your Oscar speeches when you're a young kid. And I can remember like practicing my Oscar speech when I was a little kid, you know, and that idea that maybe one day, you know, I mean, it only happens to a few lucky people out there, right, that get the opportunities to even be in a movie in the first place, and then be able to have a role that they do so well that they get nominated for an Academy Award and then, you know, possibly win. But I was sitting there and I thought to myself, I just had this kind of moment where it was like, and trust me, I'm not feeling sorry for myself, it's just a moment of realization, where I was like, this is where my like haters are like, it's just a real feeling, you know. I was like, yeah, I'll probably never go to the Academy Awards, and I'll probably never win an Academy Award, and you know, like so much of life has passed me by now, and it's not like I didn't know that for a long time anyway. And there's always, you know, I know people were like, well, you don't know, it could happen. It could happen. You know, I'm always open to any offers and opportunities. But the reality is, you get to a certain point and you realize that there are some things that probably you won't do in this life, you know? It's like that song from Thelma and Louise, which I did not know. I was watching, whoever was one of them that I was watching, that one next to Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon. And I think it was Frances McDormand, actually, for Fargo, maybe. But they were both up for Best Actress or Best Actress, I think. So anyway, for Thelma and Louise. But that song, when she's driving through the Badlands, you know, and it plays that song that, I can't think of what that artist's name is. Oh, shoot. I used to love that song. It wasn't on the soundtrack, so I ended up having to buy like the tape. Marianne Faithfull. It's a Marianne Faithfull song. And she's talking about that woman driving a convertible through Paris. And she realized that she would never drive a convertible through Paris. And I think there does become a time when you realize, like just as a truism, so much of life has passed me by. You know, I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. I really do. I say it all the time, and I really believe it. But I also think that sometimes, like, you realize kind of like, wow, life does go quick. It's like one day you're getting ready to turn 30 and you think that sounds old, and the next day it's your 50th year and you're like, how did I get here? And do you know what? It's like, I was reading this letter the other day that somebody sent me, and she said in the letter, she said, you seem to not have any problems with getting older, and like that's really inspiring for me. And it's like, you know, I say this on here quite a bit. I really, as far as like the wrinkles and stuff, I mean, I was looking at my hair tonight earlier, and I was like, I saw like one black hair, and I was like, isn't that so funny that I like noticed the black hairs because I'm all white hair, you know? I think I just along the way had to stop allowing myself to feel so emotionally attached to these physical attributes that I can't hold on to forever, you know what I mean? And maybe work with the ones that like I can do something about instead, you know? I can't, you know, I don't want to go after every wrinkle. I don't know, I've earned my wrinkles too, you know, to some degree is how I feel about it. And I haven't really gotten a lot more. Like, I've had this one right here forever, but the rest of my skin, like, I don't know, and my hands haven't started to age a whole lot yet. That's probably the next thing that's going to happen the next couple of years. But I remember noticing that with my mom and dad, is like their hands, like, aging. Like, that was one of the things I noticed, you know? Probably when my mom was, you know, I was thinking about this the other day, because Caroline and I were talking about, what were we talking about? How did we get on it? We were talking about the year my mom and I got sober. And I said something to her about, she said, we were talking about Thanksgiving. And I said, I didn't come to your house. I didn't go to anybody's house for Thanksgiving that year. She goes, something about, well, you always spent Thanksgiving with us, didn't you? And I said, no, I spent Thanksgiving a lot with my dad when I was growing up. We would go to Florida to see his fraternity brother. And she was like, oh, okay. And she's like, but when you're older, you spent Thanksgiving with us. And I said, I did. Sometimes. I said, I didn't the year that I got sober. And I said, because my dad, this was before I got sober, you have to remember, my dad called me and told me that I was not welcome at my aunt's house or their house, because they knew that I would show up so intoxicated that I would ruin everybody's Thanksgiving. You know, I think about that sometimes, of my dad having to even call me and have that conversation and be like, you know, I think he was really afraid of me, like, driving over there and causing a scene and all kinds of stuff. But, so anyway, and she was like, but I must have seen you at Christmas, because we always got together for Christmas. And I said, no, I said I was in treatment over Christmas that year. And she was like, oh, that's right. And she goes, but your mom, I would have seen your mom. And I said, no. I said, that was the worst of my mom's drinking, because she was moving out of the house into the condo. And my mom later told me, she said that she spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day just drinking one drink after another, smoking one cigarette after another, sitting there in total silence, just wrapping these wrapping these like dishes and glasses and stuff to move. And she slowly would take like a little bit over to the condo, and then she'd come back, and the snow was bad, and she felt like she was all alone, and my aunt was like trying to help and stuff, and she was like, I don't want anybody's help, and she was kind of shut off from the world, you know. And then I said, I got sober. So I got sober, Caroline and I were talking about this, and I said, so I got sober in December, but my mom didn't get sober until her sobriety birthday was June 2nd. And she said, so I didn't see you for Mother's Day or Easter. And I said, you know, I don't really honestly remember. I'm sure we always got together for Easter, but I don't really remember, in all honesty. I mean, God, it's been, you know, 27 years ago now, but I said, yeah, I said, but that would have been, where am I at on time? I cannot see. I feel like I'm at 29 minutes and something, but I said, yeah, I said I didn't see, you know, you a lot until, and then she said my wedding. And I said, yeah, because her wedding is her anniversary is in June, and Caroline got married like 2 weeks after my mom got sober. And I said, you know, your dad's heart attack, because that was my uncle's very first heart attack. He was a long-term heart patient. And I said, you know, your dad's very first heart attack had more to do with my mom getting sober than anything else. And she was like, really? And I said, oh yeah. I said, when your dad, because my mom and my Uncle Dave were super, super close. It stopped. And that was my Aunt Kathy's husband. I said, you know, they would like walk and stuff. And he was pretty healthy when he had his heart attack. I mean, he would have like maybe like, you know, a drink in the evening. And he used to smoke like way back in the day, but he didn't then. And, so he had a heart attack like the first week of June, and then no. He had a heart attack like the last week of May, because they were worried like if Caroline should like call off the wedding and all this kind of stuff. I remember it was like a big deal. And he ended up walking Caroline down the aisle, and it was like this huge thing that he was able to do that, which was really cool. And my mom said at the time that whether she lived another year or another 10 years, she didn't want to continue to live the way that she was living. And so she got sober. And she had gone to meetings before, and she said, you know, she would drive around churches and be too afraid to go in and all that kind of stuff. And then later, it was interesting because Caroline said to me, now, do you think she changed a lot after she got sober? And I said, oh yeah, like absolutely. I said, but you know, Caroline, I said, sobriety can help mental health issues, but they don't cure mental health issues, you know. And I said, my mom had a lot of mental health. We have a lot of mental health that runs in our family. And so, like on Caroline and I's side. And so I said, you know, I mean, she just had a lot of mental health issues. And I said, and those were things that probably were exasperated or muted, depending on the situation, by alcohol. And then when she got sober, you know, if she wasn't drinking and it was really bad, I think I noticed it more or clearer sometimes. Or it wasn't as bad because she wasn't drinking, if that makes sense. So, but it was an interesting conversation to have. I said to her, I said, you know, my mom was definitely more, I mean, and Caroline and my mom were close, but they weren't like close, like they talked every day. But I said, you know, my mom was definitely more liberated. I said, you know, my mom always was very weird about like showing any kind of cleavage, wearing a V-neck t-shirt, anything. She didn't like to do that. And that stemmed all the way back to when my mom was growing up. And it like started with these boys looking in my mom's window. My mom like was big-breasted very early. And these boys were looking in my mom's window, and this would have been like 7th or 8th grade, I think like 8th grade. And so my mom's stepdad like went outside with like a shotgun, and then he called the police. And when the police came, the police asked my mom if she wore tight sweaters to school to entice the boys and to get them to look at her and all this kind of stuff. And I can remember my mom would just say like, the damage that does to, you know, like a young woman. Like she said, you know, for the rest of my life, I always felt like people, anybody, but more specifically, mostly men, looked at me and judged me for my breast size. And it was like the bigger my breasts were, the dumber I was as a woman. And so she would like flatten her breasts down. She didn't like any attention to her breasts at all. And she was, I mean, my mom was short. My mom was 5 foot, and she was extremely big-breasted. And one of the things that it was from like social issues to physical issues my mom would talk about. I mean, one of her favorite things to talk about was her breasts, because it had affected her life in so many ways. Not just that, but also she would say, I can't believe that I was married to a plastic surgeon for so long and I never got a breast reduction. My mom's dream in her life was to get a breast reduction. She would talk about it all the time, that all she wanted was a breast reduction because her back was so in so much pain. And And I'm just sharing the truth of like, my mom would, if she was sitting right here, she would tell this story, you know, like I can remember when I got older and she would say, it's like even painful to sleep. And I would say, why? And she would say, it's just like, you know, when you have no firmness in your breast. And she's like, I lay down on my back and one breast goes to the right and one breast goes to the left. Later, and I've shared this story too, she went and she had seen this Oprah about getting, if you get sized for the right bra, that it can really help your back pain. Like a lot of women's back pain is from wearing incorrect bra sizes. My mom was wearing a triple D, and she went and got sized at, I think, like Victoria's Secret or Nordstrom or one place. She ended up going to Victoria's Secret and special ordering 2 bras, because that's where she would like special order bras like her size and stuff like that. But they were so expensive. They were like, I can remember she said to me something, they were like $200 or something. And then, but I think she went to Nordstrom to get sized is where she went. But I remember she called me and she was like so embarrassed. And she was like, I cannot even believe this. And I was like, what? She's like, I'm a J. And I'm like, you're a what? And she was like, my breast size, I'm a J. She was like, I didn't even know they made J's. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, Peter, I thought I was a triple D. She's like, I'm a J. I didn't even know they made J's. And so, I mean, so here she was wearing this bra that was so tight on her that it hurt so bad, right? Not to mention that my mom wore like wire bras a lot of her life, which she hated. I remember I threw one in the dryer one time trying to be nice to do like help her with her wash, and I like the wire came out, looked like she was so mad. She's like, those are expensive bras, don't ever like, so, do you guys, if you're my era, you remember like growing up and in the shower, you would like, your mom would like hang her pantyhose and her bras so she could hang them dry, because she didn't like, you know, you didn't just wear a pair of pantyhose. Well, nobody wears pantyhose today, do they? And I feel like pantyhose are such a thing from the past. Nobody wears them anymore. I was just thinking about, like, I was driving through here last winter and there was all this snow and I saw like deer over there, because I thought I saw a deer over there, but I don't think it was. But anyway, and then like towards the end of my mom's life, she wore a lot of jogging bras. Because, and she would say, feel like I have a uniboob, is what she would say. And I'd say, why? And she'd say, because I just wear a jogging bra that flattens it all down and it's 10 times more comfortable. But she would wear a lot of V-neck t-shirts that would show cleavage. And, I think, you know, it's like interesting to me, like having had a mom that's big-breasted, and, you know, I've been witness a lot in my life where you see a big-breasted woman, and let's say if she has like a silk shirt on that's like, if you're big-breasted, you'll know what I'm talking about, because I feel like I live this vicariously through my mom to some degree. But like, if you see a woman that has like a silk shirt on, right, and let's say if she's of average breast size, okay? And they'll say, oh, she looks nice, she's conservatively dressed, she's business casual, right? Let's say if she's got like a pencil skirt on or a pair of pants, you know, and like a silk shirt with like 2 buttons undone. 2 buttons right here, okay, with like a jacket. A big-breasted woman with 2 buttons undone, she's provocative. And I feel like that's what my mom faced all her life. I witnessed many men and women look at my mom's breasts like, how dare she wear that, when it was something that anybody else would wear, you know? If my mom just wore like a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, like a zip-up sweatshirt over it, I mean, people would look, you know? And it's like, what was she supposed to do? I think it's a good lesson in life, you know? It's like we judge people so much for what they can't do anything about. It's like, I don't know. You know, we think that like body shaming goes so much just for people that are heavy. I have a friend of mine that is like so thin, and I have sat there and witnessed her like eating like whole pizzas and stuff, and she really can't gain a lot of weight. I mean, she's tried in her life, she's tried to eat super healthy, you know, she's tried to put on weight like with, you know, like what do you call it, like protein shakes and working out. And I mean, she's a really healthy person. And I mean, today she's not eating whole pizzas, but back in the day she did. And you know, when she was in high school, she was horrifically bullied for being thin. And people would say things to her like, why don't you go eat a cheeseburger? Or, you know, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, anything that makes somebody different, it's like, we feel like it's okay to like judge them or make fun of them for, you know. So anyway, in talking to Caroline about that, I was like, I feel like my mom felt liberated as she got older. Like, she didn't care anymore. She was like, and her style, my mom always had cute style, but like her style got really cute towards the end of her life because I think she cared less, you know. And I mean, she was like, if you're gonna look, I mean, they're my breasts, there's nothing that I can do about them. But that's where it's like interesting to me, like when people say things like, you know, like people will say things to me like, oh my God, you were bullied in high school, it's been 30 years, how long are you gonna live with that? Or, you know, like whatever. And I've done a lot of work on working through those issues, you know, or people will say things about other stuff, or, you know, like, you came out 30 years ago, why is it still an issue for you? You know, you're talking about my mom at the time was probably 14 when this originally happened to her, somewhere between 12 and 14. And then, you know, we're talking about well into her 50s, so 30, 40 years, right, of my mom dealing with this issue of these boys, and the police officer basically saying, an authority figure, basically saying to my mom, it's your fault because you dressed provocatively when she didn't dress provocatively. So therefore, the rest of my mom's life, whenever men would, and I think that's probably why she really had issues with men treating her stupid, and she would put them in their place very quickly, which is why I think my mom liked to have conversations with men to prove how smart she was. But, you know, I think, like, anytime my mom would find somebody, catch somebody, like, see them looking at her breasts, I think it brought it all back for her, you know? And she's like, it's my fault or something, which is so ridiculous, you know, that we perpetuate that idea. And it's so sad. It's so sad, you know. I remember my girlfriends in high school. I would say things to them every once in a while. I didn't say stuff to them very often because I didn't really like to affirm the obvious, but I would talk about being like bullied and whatever. Okay, the battery died, and I didn't even know that I was at the end, so I had no clue. And then I had to find a place to turn in over here. So, I just turned around because I'm going back the other way now. So anyway, I was talking to my girlfriends about being bullied in high school. Okay, so anyway, we were talking about that. Well, we wouldn't talk about it that often. You know, like, it would come up every once in a while, and they would say, like, you know, well, was this hard? Oh, if something happened, like, if I was bullied in some certain situation, they'd be like, are you okay? And I'd be like, yeah. And I kind of just, like, you know, act like it was no big deal. And they'd be like, well, there's nothing right about what happened. And I'd be like, thanks, I appreciate it, right? And so I remember one of my girlfriends saying to me one time, you have no idea how vicious the girls are in the locker room, or how vicious high school girls are, or something like that. And, you know, my experience was that, like, I mean, there were a few girls that were bullies to me as well, and made fun of me, some of the popular girls, but other than that, I can remember this one girl was always, like, trying to give me suggestions on how I could have the best life ever. And she was somebody that I had kind of, like, been in a lot of classes with through the years, you know, because, like, we had gone to, like, elementary and junior high together. And I remember one time, my senior year, she was like, not my senior year, but, like, in high school, she was like, maybe it was my senior year, I don't know. She was like, hey, she was like, why do you hang out with all these freaks? And I was like, girl, are you going to hang out with me? Nobody else hangs out with me. You know what I mean? Like, thank God for my friends that are freaks. I wouldn't have anybody, you know? Anyway. I think in some weird way my friends were really being bullied too, and I didn't know that, by a lot of the girls, and being made fun of, you know. I think the difference was that they could stand up for themselves, and I never would stand up for myself. I didn't, you know. I was so terrified of the fight, and I was so terrified of confrontation, that I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I was so terrified of getting my butt kicked that I didn't want any attention brought to me whatsoever. So when somebody was like, yo, you beat your ASS out, but, you know, in front at 3 o'clock, I'd be like, no. And I would always say this. I would always say, and they'd be like, why not? And I'd be like, because you'll win anyway, so there's no reason to fight me. And then they always just looked at me like they didn't know what to say. I was scared of that. You know, I had been in like one fight, and it was from this kid that was on my school bus. I must have said something smart to him. I honestly don't even really remember right now, but he was like, I don't even think maybe he rode our bus or something. I thought he was like the bus stop after ours, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. So anyway, but I remember he told me, he's like, I have to beat you up because of whatever I said. And I was like, okay. I don't even remember what it was, honestly. And, I mean, it was so long ago. I was like in 6th or 7th grade. And I had braces on. And so I got off the bus stop, and he got off the bus stop, and I kind of like vaguely remember like everybody looking out the windows. It was like one of those scenes, you know. And then like I just started walking towards my house, and he was like walking behind me, and he just kept on saying like, I have to beat you up. And I was like, okay. And I didn't say anything. It was like weird. Like I look back on it, it was like such a weird situation. He just kept on saying it. And then finally we got like halfway down my street, and he was like, hey. And it was like in this area that was kind of like covered by trees. Like it wasn't like, I mean, you like kind of walked under these trees as you're on the sidewalk. And I stopped, and he goes, okay, I have to hit you now. And I go, okay. I didn't say it like that, like, okay. I said like, okay. Like I was scared, and he like swung back and hit me. And I remember he hit me, and then when he did, I don't know why, I opened my mouth, and his teeth like grazed across my braces. I think he took a bracket off, because I had like pictures with like no bracket on one of my front teeth. And he was like, he went off, and he was like, you cut up my skin with your braces, and yada yada yada. And he like turned and like left and went home, and he was so upset. And I remember I just stood there for a second, and then I just like ran home, and I was like crying the whole way. And my mom was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I was like, nothing. I don't want to talk about it. Nothing. That was like the one and only fight I ever was in. But shoot, when I got older, I mean, this was when I was out of high school, but when I got older and was drinking and stuff, man, I thought I could fight a fool. I'd get right in your face and threaten you. I think sometimes, like, Tanya always says, like, from Mob Wives, she was like, you are so Drita, you are all bark and no bite. But, like, that poor Christmas tree over there looked like it was decorated. So sad. But anyway, it's like they just kind of threw up the lights on it. It didn't even make any sense. And it was like these red tube lights. But anyway, man, when I used to drink back in the day, I'd get up and threaten people and all kinds of stuff. I'd be like, you don't know me. You don't know me. Oh. But then they'd always be like, do you want to get a drink? I'd be like, sure. Let's go. Fight's over. I don't know what time I started vlogging. Do you guys know what time I started vlogging? You don't know me. It's interesting, like I've said this on here before, but like I like when we see Carlitos, like I think of him like he's 9, right? My nephew. And like in my head, in my mind's eye, I don't necessarily see myself at 9, but I see those kids at 9. And the things they said to me, and how cruel they were to me, and how mean they were to me. And I think, like, I see him and I think, God, it's so weird to think that somebody that age has the capacity to be so cruel and hateful and mean. And not nice. You know, where does that come from? You know, and I think about that, and I think, like, I was just a kid. I don't know, it's so weird, you know, when I think about it. Like, even Sebastian, he'll be, you know, 6 in January. I was 7 the first time that all those kids made fun of me in 1st grade. Like, I was 7 years old, you know, sitting at the lunch table. Like, little Sebastian's age, like, you know, somebody set in motion, sitting at that lunchroom table, forever what my future was going to be like. I think about that, and I'm just like... And I've, like, talked so much about... You know, it's interesting because, like, I smell gingerbread all of a sudden, which is really weird. Maybe it's my coffee. No, because I didn't make gingerbread coffee tonight, but I smell gingerbread. Got rid of the popcorn in here, so it's not that. I actually cleaned out my car the other day. My car's never really that dirty, but you know, when I did inventory this summer with my sponsor, I put my high school bullies on my inventory. And you know, one of the things that came out of it, just as a suggestion from my sponsor, was that what is my part in that at 49 years old is that I'm still holding on to it. And I know that. Like, I know that, right? But it's like... Like, I know that they rent space in my head for free. And I know that I'm not living, you know, at 16 or 9 or 11 or 17 or 18 anymore. I know that, right? But, like, it still messes with that tape in my head. You know, it still messes with that. Like, I sometimes think, like, you know, my parents were so supportive of anything that I wanted to do, any dream and anything, you know, and I think if I hadn't gone through what I went through in school, like, I think I would have pretty good self-concept, pretty good self-confidence. You know, I don't think I would question myself a lot about things. And what was I watching the other day? And I was like, somebody standing up for themselves, and I was like, I really, like, respected it. I was like, you know, like, when I was watching, well, this is a stupid example, but when I was watching The Real Housewives of Orange County, and this was not what I was talking about, but it's a good example. You know, Heather Dubrow confronts Gina and Shannon, right, for this rumor that they brought to her party. And she takes them out. She does it in such a classy way. She takes them outside, and she says to Gina, she says, you know, they say don't shoot the messenger. She's like, but I don't believe that, and I believe in shooting the messenger. You never should have brought it here, and this was not the right timing. The timing was horrible. And she looked at Shannon, and she said, and you, she said, I thought we were really repairing a friendship, and I really trusted you, and you should have brought this to me before. You should have given me a heads up about this. And then Shannon's all like, I'm sorry, and she goes, I don't want to hear it. And she turns and she walks inside. In my mind's eye, like, that's the person I would like to be, right? That's like, no nonsense. Okay, you're not going to F me over, but now it's been said, let's move on. We don't need to sit, and we don't need to sit in it for the next 2 years, you know what I mean? Like, we can move on, we can heal and grow from this as people, like, we just need to move on, right? But, like, this needs to be said. Like, in my mind's eye, that's how I see myself. But I don't think that's really who I am. I wish it was who I was, but no, I don't think it's who I am. Maybe more, like, in my personal life, I think, like, but the thing is, I don't really have that many people in my personal life that I ever have to set straight. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. I don't have that a lot. I don't have chaos and toxicity in my personal life because I've removed anything that brings it into my life. So I don't have situations where I would have to say that. I don't have people in my life that bring that kind of negativity into my life. And I think that maybe that's been the greatest lesson is, number one, remove all toxicity from your life if you can. Number two, don't participate in the toxicity and the negativity. You don't have to, you know? This woman's just standing out here in the yard. That was weird. So, yeah, I don't know. I finished Only Murders in the Building last night. I watched, it's 10 episodes, and I watched the 9th episode and the 10th episode last night while I was eating some treats. Did I say that earlier? No, I didn't say that. That was after I finished Tic Tac Mistletoe. See, I guess I do a lot. I think I don't, but it's like, well, I finished and started a book, and I finished a TV show, and I did a live stream, and I hung out with my husband, and loved it, thought it was great, thought the ending was very ambiguous, and it's got renewed for season 2. So I'm sure it'll pick up where it ended. I'm not going to say what happens at the end of season 2 or season 1, but if you have not watched Only Murders in the Building, it's very short and it's really good. And if you like true crime podcasts, it's all about one. So, oh, I went into this whole thing and I started talking about a friend of mine and I said her name. But anyway, the other thing that I was going to tell you guys was that I was walking around the house today all day in Birkenstock plastic sandals. And so tonight I was like all cozy, my jeans, my sweatshirt on, and my Birkenstock plastic sandals. And I was getting ready to go vlog. And I was like, oh, I don't want to I don't know if I want to, I just wanted to be cozy in my sandals, right? And I was like, okay, so the car will warm up sooner rather than later. So I was like, my feet will be really warm and toasty then because I'll have my Birkenstock sandals on. But then I was like, okay, it is cold, and if something happens and I have to walk, I better have on warmer shoes. So I went upstairs to go get my Birkenstock clogs, and then I was like, you know what, I should probably wear my Uggs. So I actually have my Ugg boots on tonight from last year. They're very, very cozy. I bought Alex his last 2 Christmas presents tonight, which are a shirt to get here in time for Christmas. So, yeah, I got him quite a few things this year. I'm excited about it. I think he'll like it. The things I got. He got me those plants last night, which I absolutely love. I named them Big Edie and Little Edie from Grey Gardens, because I talked about that on here already, didn't I? Well, when you've talked about everything and there's nothing else to talk about, I guess it's time to get off and start listening to your mystery book. So I'm going to get off here now, you guys. I think I'm actually going to head home and start rendering this vlog so that it can upload overnight. So I'll have it in time to post for tomorrow, like when we get done doing our Christmas shopping and stuff like that. I will have it ready to post early evening, and then if I decide that I want to film some other videos, I can do that tomorrow. So if not, if you don't see any other videos tomorrow, then I will definitely be back on Monday, and I'll probably be filming 2 drama videos and a video from all of my other channels. I actually want to do a video for my booktube channel talking about Tic Tac Mistletoe, so I will be doing a booktube video on Monday as well, and getting up early and getting some stuff done. So, and hopefully, I still haven't put the Christmas tree up, so that's something I need to do tomorrow night. I know that people on the live stream are like, free the Christmas tree, free the Christmas tree, Christmas trees. So I'm gonna maybe do that tomorrow. I go into the bedroom and I look up in that corner where I cleaned all that stuff out, and I'm like, oh my God, it looks so nice. I'm like, oh, it just makes me so happy to see that clean corner over there. I can't let it get filled up ever again. All right, you guys, I'm going to get off here now. So, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Sunday. I hope that you're getting refreshed, rejuvenated, renewed, and restored That's a new one for the week ahead. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! Oh, and for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, one more, I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Happy birthday, Lena. Love ya.